Well, this week we had rock and roll history right here in Austin, Texas. Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay has this incredible collection of artifacts from music history. He brought that collection to town, one night only event earlier this week, from a pair of John Lennon's glasses to Prince's guitar. We've got Larry Hall with the Colts with us this morning. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great. How are you today?
Doing pretty good. So talk about this collection. How did Mr. Irsay come to get this stuff?
Well, his passion for rock music, American history, and pop culture led him to start collecting about 20 years ago. The first real iconic thing that he acquired, was Jack Kerouac's On the Road Scroll. And that particular piece, he wrote the book in the mid-50s, and it came out in the late 50s. But it's an iconic piece because it was sort of one stream of consciousness. So it's literally taped together, all the pages. It goes to 120 feet.
That's awesome. So talk about the collection that we saw this week. What are some of the things? I mentioned John Lennon's glasses. What are some of the other things that is in this?
So there's a lot of rock and roll guitars. There's a piano from John Lennon, in addition to those glasses you referred to. This piano was in two different homes that John had at Tittenhurst Park and Kenwood, and he wrote many of the songs for Sgt. Pepper's on there. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, a bunch of others. It's a 170-year-old piano, right? That, here again, he had in his homes, and he wrote the songs for Sgt. Pepper's on. But in addition to that, we've got a number of different things from Pink Floyd, the Black Stratocaster, David Gilmour, that was bought at auction at Christie's at the time, the most expensive guitar in the world, over $4 million. Prince's Yellow Cloud referred to, Eric Clapton's MTV Unplugged acoustic, a pre-war Martin, just a plethora of things that are very iconic. So just recently, the 400th issue for Guitar Magazine came out. The cover features the Jim Irsay collection, right? The greatest guitars on earth. And it's referring to the collection, the Black Stratocaster from David Gilmour that went at auction at Christie's auction house in 2019. June was the most expensive guitar in the world at that time. And Mr. Irsay has that in the collection.
I promised last Beatles question. There's also an affidavit from Paul to John about the breakup of the Beatles.
That's right. That's a very unusual, unique piece because at the time, I guess someone had to be at fault if you broke up a marriage, broke a partnership. And so I guess it was Paul's attorneys that probably wrote to each of the other Beatles. This one we know for sure is John's copy, and here's why we know that. In the body of it, it talks about how the band's become dysfunctional and that they should break up the band, and that evidently John refuses to perform live any song he didn't write, to which John takes pen in hand and writes in the margin, right? You know, Paul's been doing this for years. So it's just a number of things. Unfortunately, that's a part of their history is the ending, but that affidavit is a very unique piece to the collection. Here again, the reason he collects it is he wants to share. And so because of that, that's why this tour ultimately wants to have a museum someday. Obviously hopeful that everyone can see all these iconic pieces. And he wants them to be an inspiration to others. So
if the people of Austin missed the event this week, there will be a museum someday.
That is absolutely the goal. He's openly talked about that. Where exactly, obviously Indianapolis would be a first choice, but there's a number of great cities, and this is certainly one of them. We're excited to have been here in Austin and look forward to people that didn't get to see it here, hopefully coming to one of the other exhibits if they can, or one day at that brick and mortar museum that we hope to have.
Larry Hall, thank you so much, sir, for talking to me. I appreciate it.
You're most welcome. My pleasure. Thank you.